Hello guys. Yes, I'm gonna open the third part of series of streams started with King's Gambit and cool games and nice traps. I hate this Gambit, easy to make mistake. Yeah. So I wanted to start from some hints or tips for blitz games, how you can catch your opponent with white. So after f4, this calls King's Gambit and logical continuation to accept this pawn. And knight f3 with either d4 and take back this pawn and have good development and center. And for example, if black is going to be greedy here, g5, there is such a move, quite old. Knight c3 you can play, also bishop c4, we will see it in other games. Twinkle Toes, what are you doing here? Why are you not preparing for a game? What time is it for you, man? You probably start in about 2 or 3 hours, yes? If I'm not wrong. Спасибо, Ivanov. Twinkle Toes will play Chicago Open online on ICC, so guys cheer for him, if you can, of course. Yes, Muzio, we will see it too, of course. We'll start first from this, and imagine that knight c3 we play. No, it's not OTB, it's an online tournament, Chicago Open, 7 rounds, and starts on ICC, 5:30 evening by, I guess, by Twinkle Toes time. Okay, so knight c3, and imagine that your opponent here will try to, instead of bishop g7 develop, he tries to immediately punish you with g4. You can go in blitz knight e5, attack this pawn, and queen h4, check. We go g3, fg, and here, very interesting move, queen g4. So after queen g4, probably more or less optimal continuation, at least in blitz, to take here, knight g4, but it's very complex position still. For example, d6, we go knight e3, and these jumps. But your opponent can think that you blunder here, rook, and give this check here. Look at this check, and queen attacks king, and pawn attacks queen, the rook. So we take this queen, and he promotes, and for a minute, black has rook, right? The whole rook here. But what happens here? You can play here queen h5. And now this is a attacked on f7, and what to do here? Probably the best continuation here to play knight h6, protect, and after that d4, something like d6, bishop h6 with very complex position, because now after bishop h6 we have this check. Here we have check and then check. So he has to take t, probably queen e5 checks and queen h8, and very hard to resist this position. But if he plays bishop e7 here, we don't take with queen, we take with knight. And on suddenly black can be in trouble here, because for the if king f8 we take here and also threatening queen f7. In case of knight f6 you give this check. This how can happen in the game. After king f8 you have this mate, and after king d8 you have this very unpleasant check here, rook e8 and then mate. This is how can you catch somebody in blitz. Yeah, this measured mate before was called uh, mate of Lucena, by the way. Now we go back, and after these moves, g5, you can play bishop c4. Uh, Take notes for me. Thank you for following. Imagine that your opponent play like this. Terrible move, f6. This is very bad move because you take knight g5 here, aiming knight f7 and aiming queen h5. And in case of fg, you go check, king d7, you have check, king d6, you have check, and made him not here, made him here. Now we can see some games. Uh, it was played in 1865 between Zukertort and Andersen. What happened here? So Andersen took the pawn, knight f3, played g5. Zukertort played bishop c4, g4, and castle. White is giving this knight for better development. But Andersen did not accept. He played queen e7. The main line is gf and queen f3. Also, gambit, Muzio gambit is bishop f7. We will see it later. Queen e7, Andersen played here. d6. White is insisting to take this knight, and again, black declines. No, 1 second. Actually, d4 it was variation here. I mix it up. Knight c3 he played. Knight c3, and he sacrifices. He sacrificed with one move 2 pieces. Andersen had choice between take this knight or play this check. And after d4, queen c4, knight e5. White has very strong attack here. You see that knight queen attacks, and this knight jumps here, this, and develop. Very nice develop here. But Andersen, after knight c3, he finally took this knight, who was controlling these important squares. And Zukato played d4. Look at what's going on here. You see this fantastic position. d6 he played. Maybe better was c6 here to control this square from knight. He played d6. Knight d5. Zukator jumped, attacked the queen. Queen has to stay on d8 or d7 to control this square. So he played queen d7, and after that queen f3. Zukator. So he wants to play now bishop f4, open all files and attack. Again, c6 probably was a preferable option, but he played knight c6. Queen f4 by Zukertort. And now he played knight d8, protecting this square, because here was some tactical ideas like knight c7, bishop f7, and more ideas also. So he played knight d8 for any case, to protect. And Zukertort played queen g3. Tricky move. And now here Andersen made mistake. He played c6 here in wrong moment. Probably the best continuation was knight e6 here to open this square for the king. What happens after c6? What do you think, guys? How Andersen was punished? Lucky fritter, I play King's Guardian only with black, and I play knight c6, knight f3. I don't have any idea about that variation. We'll maybe see later. I just want to show you the traps and this stuff. Yeah, queen g8. This was the point. So after cd, queen h8, dc. Maybe this was a little bit better continuation for black, but after bishop h6, queen e7, rook e1, still is strong initiative. So e5 is coming, d5. I mean, it's still playable. I love Yemen. Thank you for following. But Anderson was probably in shock. He takes this queen and then check, king e7, check, king e8, check back, and take the queen and Sukatot won. The next game between Jung versus Marshall, Frank Marshall, is American player. It was played 1913. So it was this position, knight f3, g5, Frank Marshall played, bishop c4, and g4. Once again, castle. So in Zukator Anderson, he played queen 7. And Marshall accept the hello Yemen. He accepts the sacrifice, and now bishop f7. This is a Muzio gambit, but preferably is queen f3. Yeah, yeah. This is wild Muzio gambit. King f7 and queen f3. Two pieces are sacrificed for probably computer will easily win by black, but in that time it was quite dangerous. For example, in this game, Marshall did not read well. He played queen f6. Smile is this. You don't hear me or what? Again, this is fucking Bejo all the time. And now, my sound is Dolby Digital. So that's probably not a compliment, yeah? Okay, I reduce now. Now it's better or not? What the hell? Okay, I reduce a little bit more. But when I reduce it, then you tell me that you don't hear me. When I increase, it's echo. I don't understand what to do. Okay, now. Jerk, hello man. It's better now, I hope. Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, a little bit more I will reduce. And now? Alright, I will not touch more, so what is this, what is this? I hope you hear me at least a little bit. So, in this position, d6 was recommended by Steinitz, like a best move. And after d6, queen f4. Of course, king e8 is just made in one, knight f6, d4. This is Steinitz analyzed. Knight c3, bishop g7, strong move, knight d5, rook f8, and after knight f6, queen f6. And after queen g3, queen f1, king f1, king e8 check. Steinitz thought that black is better, and maybe he's true. Is it true? Because we have what? We have rook, bishop, and knight against queen, and also this pawn will fall down. Not necessary play for both sides, of course, but it was interesting. But in this current game, Frank Marshall, after instead of d6, he played queen f6, try to protect this pawn. d4, another. Every move white is sacrificing something. You see what's going on. d4, he wants to play e5 or bishop f4. And now he took queen d4 check. And white plays bishop e3 strong move because you cannot take queen e3, there is a pin. And in case of queen b2, c3 would be very strong move. Cut this queen off the king side, then starting some strong attack here. That's why Frank Marshall go back. But knight c3. Jung is attacking. He wants to play knight d5. Like anti-chess, yeah. Knight e7, he tried to protect. Then bishop f4 was played. d6. Then queen h5 check. You see what a strong attack has white now. And he played king g7, and after bishop e6, if he moves white won, because after queen e6 there is a win, mate in one, and after king g8 there is a rook f6. Yeah, so that's how Frank Marshall played. We can see the Chigorin game now against chess lover. It doesn't did not show the names. It was played in 1876. So it was e4, e5, e4, ef, knight f3, g5. Chigorin played bishop c4 here, g4, and knight c3 instead of castle. This, okay, gf, he took, queen f3, and knight c6 he played. And it seems like it's logical move, but maybe it's a mistake here. Probably d6 was better to play after castle or d4, bishop e6, and try to neutralize this knight, this bishop. But knight 6 and d4 strong move by Chigorin. And now he played knight d4 and Chigorin, boom, like in Gambit Muzio. Muzio Gambit, he sacrificed one more pawn. King f7 and he gives this check now. King g7 and he made castle. I'm not saying that both sides play well, but I just want to show you these historical games, beautiful games. Opponent played knight e6. In case of knight f6, there was queen g5, king f7, rook f4, with very, very strong attack here. Knight f5, e5, and so on. Yeah, maybe it's not right. Yeah, I did not analyze this. I'm just showing you game. If you check all games, what they played in past, of course, computer will refute all, maybe 99%. Bishop f4, Chigorin played. He wants to play bishop e5 check here. For example, d6 not controls it because anyway check this and mate here. His opponent took knight e4, rook f4. He played knight h6 to cover this square. Then rook a f1 with the idea rook f7. Bishop e7 he played. Queen e5 check. He cannot cover because rook f6. King g6 opponent played. Knight d5, one more piece in the game. Gaming on terrible PC. Hello man. We're watching King's Gambit right now and we're changing the openings time by time. So bishop g5 he played and rook f6. This is a game of Chigorin with white. Look at this attack. In case of bishop f6, there is rook f6, king g7, mate in one after queen g5. So king h5 was his opponent played, but knight f4 check, king g4, h3 check, king h4, rook h6, bishop h6, queen h5 check, and mate here. This is how Chigorin attacked. Yeah, there is one interesting line here. For example, you're white and you play e4, and there is a bishop c5 move here. Goblins, привет, hello. No, I'm not playing King's Gambit actually, gaming on terrible PC. I would like to show, but I don't remember when I played it. Maybe in childhood. Some Blitz games maybe online, but it's not interesting. So bishop c5, idea is after f to give check, then g3 check, yeah? So knight f3, controlling squares, attacking here. Of course now ef is a mistake because d4 is tempo, but d6, this is the idea behind the bishop c5 move, to control the center, knight c3 logical move, and knight f6, bishop c4. This can happen in your game easily, in blitz games, not only. And now knight c6, d3. Maybe I had such a games in some online blitz. And now, if opponent plays bishop g4, with idea pin and play knight d4, yeah? h3, interesting move. Bishop f3. Gambit boys, thank you for follow. Gambit boys, this is actually for you. Ruches, hello. It was nice to watch your stream today. One second, guys. For some reason, Zoom is starting. What the hell? All right. So, queen f3 take, knight d4. This is interesting position now. Now we're not going queen d1 here. No ways, no ways. Thank you for following. It would be boring, yes? And then c6 and black is okay. But all suddenly in this position, after queen g3, thank you for following. White is sacrificing the pawn and rook. Can you imagine? Just imagine your opponent's shock here after you playing queen g3. Probably queen e7 is a safe move here. With idea after queen g7, have this rook g8. But if he accepts the challenge, what is going on here? Yes, you are welcome, Ruches. We are waiting more and more streams. But now fe we take here. We open this diagonal for the bishop. De, queen g7 now. Attacking here and here. We see what's going on. And after rook f8, we play rook f1, attacking here. And this knight is trapped. And so big, big uh, pressure on the king side. Gaming on terrible PC. You're funny. So, and bishop e7, right? To protect. In case of knight d7, there would be bishop f7 check. We cannot take because of mate. And after king d7, we can give this check. And in case of king e8, we eliminate this rook with check. And after bishop f8, we give mate here. In case of king d6, there is a mate in one here. So that's why we cannot play knight d7, bishop e7 to protect. And after that, bishop g5. More and more pressure on this. We see three pieces attacking, two defending. So black is in trouble here. And knight h5 looks logical, but bishop f7 check. In case of rook d7, there is a queen f7, then at least we can take here and take here, or play knight d5 directly. And now king d7 on the move. We cannot take bishop h5 because this hangs, but queen e5 with mating idea in one. And for example, black plays c6 here. After c6, we give mate or winning queen. We give this check here. And after king e8, we take this rook with check. In case of king f8, you will get mated in one here. So we have to take this bishop, and after bishop d8, completely winning position because this is hangs, queen is very active, and this is trapped. You just destroy black's position. Hello, Apricordi, welcome. One second. There is a one very interesting line. For example, e4, e5. f4, we take ef, bishop c4, you can play. with interesting line here. Queen h4, your opponent can happily give you check because g3 is a bad move, the way of fg, and g2 is a threat also. But we play king f1. The bishop opens this, uh, frees this square for the king, and after that, for example, g5 if he plays, trying to protect this pawn. Then knight f3, queen h5, and h4. And this probably the right continuation is to play bishop e7 here. But what if h6 happens? What do you think? How white can play here? What kind of ideas you have? Guli Gulo, you're welcome. Not too fast, Apricordi. If I give you to think here, it means something, right? King f2 doesn't look like that. For example, I can play g4. What after RP chess, after bishop f7, queen f7? What did you calculate? What happens here? Yes, this is the right continuation. Bishop f7. Look at this all suddenly. So, black has two choices, queen or king. Queen immediately loses because check, and we take this queen, right? So queen f7, and now we make this move anyway. And in this case, if black plays um, queen f6, queen h5 check. So after king e7, it's the same, knight g6 and knight h8. So after king d8, we give check, and we take here, forcing this hg, and white has uh, positional advantage here. You see this idea? Yeah, this is a pin. Then next move d3, then knight c3, and you put really strong pressure on on black king. For example, in this position, let's play you. Let's imagine you play some bullet or something like that. Queen g4, your opponent will play for no reason. He wants to put it here. Then you give this check. Here's a trick. He cannot take because of check, and you take this queen. And after king d8, h3. You see this queen doesn't have any squares to go. He has to put it here. And now knight c3 is coming. Knight e2 is a threat, and after bishop c5, you play d4, and next move is knight e2 and win this queen. Now we can see the counter gambit of Phallic Bear by black. It starts like this: e4, e5, f4, and d5. Black wants to make counter chances. They don't not in rush of it's not they are not in rush of materials. They're in rush of to gain some develop quickly and take initiative. So after this move, now fe would be a big mistake because of check. And after king e2, there is queen e4, as we see, and bishop c5. G3 is also a mistake because queen e4, and we take this rook after g3. So After d5, ed is the main move. So now e4 in the spirit of this gambit. ef also not bad, but queen d5 can your opponent take here. And this actually inaccuracy. Because you play knight c3, develop knight with the tempo, and if your opponent plays this, very interesting move is knight f3 here, attacking this pawn. And in case of ef, you can play king f2. Look at this line, very interesting. At least for blitz. Now bishop c5 is weak move because you play d4 attacking the bishop, and in case of bishop b6 you have this check. And once king goes here, you play rook e1, and then rook e8 is coming here. Now let's see what happens if white does not accept the pawn sack and play knight f3 here. D and knight e5. This is also possible. And now, for example, your opponent, you are white and you want to surprise him. Yes, so he plays bishop d6, logical move. D4 you play. And for example, he take here, bishop d3, knight f6. Very logical play by both sides. And after knight c3, now he thinks that he can win the pawn here with this. The reasonable continuation, of course, is knight bd7 here with normal play, but imagine it's a bullet chess and your opponent take on e5 here. If he gives a check and he thinks that he can win this for free. Zapatai, thank you, follow. So queen attacks king and attacks here. We play king h1 and he happily takes on e5 and with pawn up, but bishop f4. You develop with the tempo. And after queen c5, what do you think? What happens here? Imagine you know this line. It's possible in blitz or bullet can this position easily can happen. After d5, play knight f3, d, knight e5, logical, knight f6, castle, bishop d6, d4, and this line. Yeah, gaming on terrible PC, but I mean, if you don't do anything, he will play something like bishop f5 or knight c6, bishop e6, develop, and I mean, you have to find here ideas. What is an interesting idea here? I want to check your tactical skills. Any ideas in mind? Yeah, the idea of opponent to play bishop g4, for example, then bishop h5 and bishop g6. If you manage to do it, he will be okay. Queen f3 is not an energetic move. He will play knight c6 and always can jump here on d4. Queen e1, queen h4, yes, very possible. But maybe you can find some interesting tactical ideas here. What do you think? I'm not saying that this is the best what I'm saying, but very interesting here. If you see such tactics for blitz games, it's like very nice. Knight c3 to b5, he will play simply knight a6. Then what you do? You are pawn down. You have, of course, compensation, but not enough to some advantage. Yes, Gambit on terrible PC. See my line, LP chess. What is your line? What is your line? I don't see your line. I play this queen d5, knight c3. What? I don't understand which line, but okay. Yes, Semi Reshevsky, you're right. Bishop c7. Look at this move. So the threat is if you play something like knight c6, then I will have bishop d6. Attacking queen, attacking rook. And if you take, we have this check and then take this queen. So black more or less forced to take this bishop and then rook f6. Look at this idea. And now what to do? Well, it's probably the safest way not to accept it. Something like bishop e6 here or g6 with some chances to escape this game. But after gf, queen h5. So mate is the threat. In case of rook e8, you grab this pawn with check, and after king f8, you play knight d5, attacking the queen, and here is a mate coming. You see what is the point. And in case of f5, we give this check, give this check, and attack this queen. Once it goes to d8, you check and arrive in the winning position. All right. Now we can see a half open openings. We can start it with a lock in defense. So e4, knight f6. Here's very funny variation. So imagine you play e5 here, and your opponent play knight e4 instead of knight d5. Here's very interesting things. b4 all suddenly can be possible here. So we control this square and we want to catch this knight with d3. Yes, and then he don't have this square also. e6, for example, your opponent play. Because on d3 there is a check bishop b4, and this knight is escaped. And in case of f3, there is this check, and after g3 he will take. Tricky move e6. Yeah. And now c3 you can play here. Look at this. Look at this. What's going on here? d3 is the idea again. There is no bishop b4 anymore. For example, the threat is if you play knight 6, I will play d3, and after this h4. I catch this knight. Very funny line. And what is in case of h6, this idea go with knight here. We can play h4 first and then d3. This knight is again in trouble. But he can play queen h4. Seems like a move. Queen e2. Now again g3 is a threat. And when queen goes, we take this knight. Yeah, it's funny and same time very dangerous because this knight is almost trapped. So f5 looks the move to avoid and go here, and queen blocked this pawn from h4. But now we play d3, attacking the knight. He has retreat. If he managed to play knight f7, he's okay. But g3 now, attacking queen. He has only move queen h6 and under the pin here. And now mistake would be h4 here, and you are happy. You think that knight is trapped, but control check here. If you take, he takes this bishop. In case of king d1, with idea take this knight after queen goes, he has intermediate knight g1, rook g1, and queen g6, and he survived. But instead of this, we can play bishop f4 here. Pawn protects bishop. Now h4 is a threat. In case of bishop c7, we play first h4, and then knight h3, and then hg will be threat, or bishop g2. Queen g6 looks logical, but we play h4, attacking the knight, and after knight f7, we play h5, queen g4, f3. And instead of knight, we caught this poor queenie. Yeah, yeah, this was a funny line. So what is possible also? After main move knight d5, it's possible that you play c4 here, knight b6, d4, and d6 is the main move here. But your opponent maybe can play knight c6. He thinks that it's the same. Next move he'll play d6, right? But in this position, very unpleasant surprise. d5, strong move. Attacking this knight. Yes, of course, if knight b8, it is just senseless, so he has to accept this pawn. In case of, for example, if black plays knight b4 here, you can play even c5. And now this knight is under attack. After knight c6, a3, and he will lose to one of the knights here. So after d5, he takes knight e5. You play c5. Look at this, attacking the knight. He doesn't have any square. And after knight b4, f4, and you lose this knight. But e6 is interesting move, and fe is dangerous in advance because of queen h4 check. After king e2, there is a queen e4 and bishop c5. But after e6, probably b3 is a good move. And we want to take this. After queen h4, we will have g3 move. Yes, it will be recorded. CBCB 198. I was also uploading it on my YouTube channel. So let's see the very sharp four pawns variation in Alekhine defense. So c4, knight b6, d4, d6, and f4. I guess I played it a few times in classical too. And bishop f5, for example. Also possible to play d, fe, and knight c6 now. Something like bishop e3 and bishop f5, and this is very sharp lines, and e6, and so on. But what if they don't take and play bishop f5 here? For example, now bishop d3. You can play with black. Imagine this position. You play bishop f5, and all of a sudden your opponent played bishop d3. This is an inaccuracy because of we take this bishop, queen d3. We take this pawn. Here is the pin. He has to take with this pawn and c5. All suddenly. Now white has d5 or knight f3. In case of knight f3, we take this pawn, and after queen d4, we just take queen and take the pawn. After knight d4, there is a knight c6 with pin, and we take this pawn here. And after d5, you have this e6 move attacking the pawn. And after knight c3, you win the pawn like this. This you have to remember. This kind of ideas in different lines of Alekhine systems. And after g3, queen c4. This is very tricky idea. And black winning the pawn. After queen c4, knight c4, d6, this hangs. So after d, you can take or fe or knight e5. And of course, it's not enough compensation. Now, if imagine you are playing with white and you play this line again. So d4, d4, d6. Sorry, how it is? e4, knight f6, e5, knight d5, c4, knight b6, d4, d6, f4. And your opponent take d, fe, played knight c6, the main line, bishop e3. He played bishop f5, he knows theory. This is in blitz games. If you don't remember this, you can lose easily with both sides. So knight c3, we develop this knight, same time we defend against this with rook c1, e6, logical move. Now we play knight f3, so we develop the pieces. Queen d7 seems to be logical to prepare long castle or rook d8. Bishop e2, long castle and short castle. And now, if black plays bishop e7, f6 is one of the main move. In case of bishop e7, what do you think? What happens here? What idea you have? b4, he will simply take his bishop here and attack your knight. What's the point? Something forced here. Very interesting. What do you think? What we have? d5. Look at this move. Yes. So we are attacking knight. We are forcing to take. And now CD is bad move because he will take here and he has three attackers and we have only two defenders, right? So bishop b6. This is the whole idea here. Now black has to take because d4 doesn't work, unfortunately for them, because we can take with bishop here. And after he takes, we can take with queen and takes. And after rook d4, we take this bishop and we have two pieces against one. So after bishop b6 has to accept with ab, but cd very unpleasant move. Attacking the knight. Knight b4 he plays. Attacking our pawn, but knight d4, strong move, attacking the bishop. He cannot retreat on g6 because bishop g4 winning the queen here. So g6 he has to play. And what do you think? What you play here? My YouTube channel very fine, easy to find. So Baadur Jobava, like my Latin name and surname. Not not James Blunder on YouTube. I'm my name and surname. G4 goblins gives chances, right? We can take knight d5, gf, and then knight e3, fork. Then this also hangs. Bishop b5. He plays c6. Goblins, you are funny. You just offer different moves, right? All moves, what is possible. Just think a little bit, yeah? Find idea. Let people think too. Bishop b5, c6. You just blundering c6 move. Use little bit brain, guys. Don't be in rush. Nobody is rush here. I'm sure even Carlsen cannot suggest this in a few seconds like you do. It's not d6. Smircea, thank you for following. Yes, Aero Marine. Of course, knight f5. So what you find after knight f5? If I take gf, what's going on? Bishop e5 once again will be c6 here. Yeah, and c6 is not bad move, right? I'm attacking this pawn. So knight f5, gf, rook f5. So I will take the bishop and take this pawn. So far we are with pawn up, right? And black is in trouble here. Because if they take queen f5, we have the bishop g4 move. And in case you play knight d5 here, what's going on after knight d5, guys? It seems like a blunder, right? Knight d5. Rook f7 is huge mistake. He will give us check and takes this rook. Yes, e6, very strong move. You see, we're attacking this queen. See, checks you can input, but doesn't change the thing. We play king h1, and now we attacking the queen. If he goes, we take this, right? And after fe, that's what you had to say. Rook d5, very strong. Knight protects this rook. If queen goes, we simply exchange and stay with piece up. And in case of bd, bishop g4, we win this queen. This is the idea. Here's one very interesting trap now. How you can trap somebody in blitz game again. E4 you play. He plays knight f6. You play e5. He plays knight d5. You play d4 instead of c4, right? He plays d6. You want more calm position. And you play knight f3. Positional play. Yeah, you want to develop like bishop e2 castle of c4 depends. But he plays. Imagine here is a bishop g4, one of the main line or d. Imagine your opponent plays g6 here. 1 second, I will read one question from Ivanov. He's wrote in Russian. Баdur, скажи, пожалуйста, если у ведущих Грузии, у тебя производственно. Ну, у сборной Грузии есть стипендия. Небольшая, но ежемесячная от государства. Да. So g6. And now we can make nice trap. Knight g5 we can play here. Не за что. So and now imagine you want to play queen f3, right? For example, bishop g7 is the problem of the queen f3. You attack the knight and you attack this pawn. This is the idea. And now imagine if black plays takes d, you can take d, and in case of h6, you have c4 move here. And the point that knight cannot go to here because you will take the queen and then the fork. And after hg, cd, you just simply have a better position here. Your center is strong, this pawn is weak. You just develop, play have e6 break ideas. So this is not the recommended for play. But imagine that your opponent after knight g5 he plays h6, and he thinks that you want to play queen f3 or knight d4. So he takes queen d5 and he can survive here. Serious now. Thank you for following. But instead of after h6, does this. Thank you for following. Knight f7 suddenly here. Very unpleasant move. So this fork is forcing black to take, right? And now we have give this check. Now the best continuation to play knight f6 and after ef, we black simply has bad position, but maybe can survive. So after knight c3, white is much better. Yeah, they develop, make long castle or short castle and continue. But if black is continue to be greedy here, then you play c4, attacking this knight from this side. Knight b4 and d5 check. We see that after how we punish. After king d5, we simply give mate in 1, and after king d7, we give check and give mate. Yeah, this is interesting trick. You can catch somebody here. And oh, we have Miroshnichenko Evgeny. Hello, Miron. Was it raid from you? I'm sorry, I missed it. 1 second. What you are talking, guys, about? Let me read a little bit. I missed something here. Yeah, thank you very much for Miron. Евгений, спасибо. Yes, we are watching here openings, different kind of openings. Some traps here can be useful for blitz, bully chess. right. Let me see next. Busy is a studio commentating in Norway. Therefore, too much time for streaming. Yes. Yeah, I saw you are on Levit of chess. Yeah. Yeah, there is one interesting line with white against Alokin. After e4, knight d5, not to play c4, not to play d4, knight c3. I played it myself often in blitz. Very tricky one. So you asking the opponent what you want he do next, to take here or just go. But what if he choose the third option, e6 here, to protect the knight? Now you can go for d4, d6, and f4. Very interesting line here. And in case if he takes knight c3, bc, d, he has, of course now d is a bet because he takes queen d1 and our structure in the game will be bet. But we take with this pawn, and now if he was going for this forced variation with hope that he has this check, and all suddenly seems like white is in trouble here because king e2, maybe even b6, bishop a6 coming. King d2 looks ugly, but g3 we can play here. And after queen e2, queen e4, queen e2. So of course he did this all not to take on e2. So after knight e2, bishop g2, black is still okay, but they take on h1 here. Knight f3, interesting move here. So we just cut this, cut off this queen from the central squares, and now black is trying to help it with trying with bishop c6, attack this knight and free our queen. But king f2 is a move, protect the knight and preparing bishop g2. And after bishop c6, bishop g2 here, bishop f3, queen f3, queen h2. It seems like black is okay, but queen b7 all suddenly. Now his threat is queen c8 check, here king e7, and then bishop a3 mate. So bishop e7, for example, then we play queen c8 check, bishop d8, and bishop a3. White is not in rush to take material, they just want to keep attacking chances here. So king stuck in center, rook h1 is a threat, and what to do? Queen h5 looks logical move to escape, but all suddenly what white play here? What do you think? What is white's idea? Queen h6 is better move, but we will see it better later. Bishop c6 is simply blunder, right? He takes with knight on c6. До свидания, Ivanov. Guys, what is bishop 6? I don't understand. He will take with knight on c6. Yes, Aras. Queen b8. Look at this move, guys. Queen b8 all suddenly. And in case of rook b8, he will get mated with two bishops here. Beautiful way. And then you take this queen a8 here, at least. But in this position, to be honest, queen hc was strong move. Because now queen b8 is a terrible mistake. He will give check, and after his king goes here, he will check here, and take rook, takes the queen and wins the game, because he has extra rook. And after queen h8, bishop a8 is probably on the move, but queen d8 is complex game, it's still a hit here. Yeah, this is just for fun, this is not serious variation, but just to see the ideas here. Yeah, for example, now we move to the Caro-Kann defense. In Caro-Kann also, it's my one of my favorite opening with black. So what ideas Caro-Kann has? So e4, c6, d4, d5, for example. Here knight d2 is more precise, by the way, because after knight c3, black also have this g6 line, and after bishop g7, white will play something like knight f3, for example, bishop h3, then knight h6, and it's better to have opportunity to put pawn on c3. So when knight is here, then you put pawn on c3, which is quite annoying setup against these bishops. That's why it's almost forced to take d and knight e4. I mean, if you want to play this open variation, better to do it with this line. So d, knight f4, bishop f5, the main line. There is also knight f6 and also knight d7. We all remember the famous game between Deep Blue versus Kasparov, right? We all remember. I think it was 1996 or 1997, maybe, or 8, I forget already. But it was quite long time ago. How it was, by the way, it was like this, knight d7. Let me remember how it was. Something like bishop c4 maybe, then it was this, something like this, right? He sacrificed here, and then no, maybe not exactly like this, how it was. Need to remember, maybe knight f3 it was, knight f6, knight g5. Somehow he sacrificed on e6. Forget exactly. You can Google maybe. Maybe it was bishop c4. 1 second. It was knight d7, bishop c4, knight f6, knight g5. Maybe it was queen e2 somewhere. Oh, forget the order of moves. Maybe you can see and remind me. Queen e2 in which moment? No, I don't want to show Z trap. I just want to tell you that there's a lot of ideas. So in this position, okay, anybody can Google, so we don't discuss this. I just could not remember so right now. For example, bishop a5 is the main line, knight g3, bishop g6, and your opponent don't know you're white. You play h4, h6, knight f3. Here is more precise way to play knight d7, but e6 is also possible. a6, and then knight e5 you can play. Yeah, bishop h7 and bishop d3 trap. The main move is bishop d3, queen d3 will be a very complex game even after this. But imagine your opponent take care. What happens then after queen d4? What do you think, guys? Who knows this trap? Don't say anything. Let other things. Yeah, here is knight f7 move, of course. The point that after king f7, you give this check here, guys. Bishop c6, and you lost the queen. Also, queen don't have reasonable checks anyway, because it's after queen b4, you play c3, queen e5 simply knight covers, and bishop d3 looks like best move, but after that you take the rook, and this is a pin, you see? And after queen e5, you play bishop e3, and there is an illusion that after bishop e7, this knight can be trapped, because in this position you give this check. King d8, we give this check, and then you grab this queen, and you have winning position because of exchange up. Also, in very nice variation against Caro-Kann in bullet chess. In bullet chess with white is this line: e4, c6, d4, d5, knight d2, take, bishop f5. Knight g3, bishop g6. This is the main line, of course. h4, h6. It was played million of games. Knight f3, knight d7. Thank you for following. Knight d7 is the most precise way, not allow even knight e5 idea. And now traditional move is h5 here, right? We all know. Then bishop h7, then bishop d3, then bishop takes, queen d3, and long theory. So after that, instead of h5, you can play bishop c4 here. Tricky move. Yeah, this line, imagine in bullet chess, and e6 logical move, and queen e2. You develop like this. And now your opponent can easily make dubious move. So bishop e7 is precise move here. And after knight e5, you can take knight e5. But he can play bishop d6, right? Easily can play this move. Looks like active square here. Now bishop e6 doesn't work because he takes, and after queen e6, queen e7, he has pinned. And here you can make a trap after castle. Knight gf6, logical move. And knight e5 we have. This is very unpleasant. Now, of course, knight g6 is a threat. And then after knight e5, there is a fork. Bishop e5, unpleasant to take because of the e, but maybe you have to play like this. Knight d5, attack this pawn, force an h5, bishop h7. But probably white is a little bit better here. Bishop d2, rook d1, rook e1, and so on. But okay, your opponent maybe don't know this, and he plays bishop h7. And now you simply crush him instantly with knight f7 check. Not check, I mean take, and after this check on e6. And after king g6, there is a mate in 1 after h5. Yeah, this is also interesting idea. Thank you for following, by the way. King f8 was made on f7. Yeah, you have to be careful with black with these ideas. For example, in bullet chess, you played e4, your opponent play c6, d4. What I cannot make moves. Knight e2, take, bishop f5, knight g3, played h4, h6, knight f3, and he did not play knight d7, he played this, and after knight e5, he don't wanna play bishop h7 because he thinks maybe something like queen h5 is coming, then he plays something like queen f6 here, or suddenly. How you punish him instantly here? This is typical bullet chess. What is the idea here, guys? Yeah, bishop g5, look at this move. We're giving mate to this queen. He doesn't have any squares, he has to take, and fg. This is an interesting idea. Pawn attacks queen, forces to take, and then we take this rook. Yeah, this idea can be in different positions. I saw it in different games, in old games also. Thank you for following. Okay, let's see now. Naidenom, thank you for subscription. Appreciate your support. I want to show you guys now one of the game between Botvinnik versus Spielmann here. And thank you for following. It was played in 1955, so Botvinnik was 44 years old here. So Botvinnik start with e6, c6, e4, c6 answered by Spielmann, d4, d5, and ed, cd. c4. This is a Panov's attack in Caro-Kann defense. Very tricky, very popular nowadays too. Knight f6, knight c3, knight c6. So there is a different moves like knight f3, cd, but bishop g5, one of the main line. And now black has e6 here or bishop e6, two moves. But what happens if your opponent don't know theory and he plays queen b6 and he thinks that he will win or this pawn, right? How such a strong player like Spielmann was punished here? Here, Botvinnik played strong move. If I remember, he know he prepared it in at home. Rook c1, strong move. Thank you for following. Look at this move. We don't care about this pawn. We don't care about this pawn. Sorry, I mean what I'm doing. I mean cd, we take queen b2 and now rook c1. This of course I mean. And now we protect this knight. This knight is attacked. So what to do for black? There is no good moves. Knight b4 looks logical, with either bishop f5 and then attack here or take here. But Botvinnik punish it with move knight a4, attacking the queen. Queen a2 by Spielmann and bishop c4. Look at this line. Queen attacked again. After queen a3, there will be rook c3. Yeah, we catch the queen. Bishop g4. Spielmann played. He wants after f3 take on g2 and attack our rook here. And after this, knight f3 Botvinnik played, and the game over very quick because what to do here? After bishop f3, we take gf. This is under attack, and after queen c3, there is rook c3, winning at least a piece. This how quickly in the 11 moves was punished such a strong player. Yeah, there is one very interesting line against Caro-Kann. e4, c6, d4, d5, and f3. This line. I remember once Ivanchuk played against me, and it's on Nepomniachtchi and Timofeev, Artyom, in long, long time ago, more than 10 years ago they played. Very tricky line, and you need to know very carefully. I played queen b6 then. Interesting move. And your opponent can easily play d here, with idea after e3, e5. Try to exploit our central pawns. But we don't take d because black has excellent position after this. This pawn is weak, you can develop the bishop e6, knight d7, and so on. Instead, knight f3. We play for development here. Here is bishop e6 is possible to play with very complex position, not allow bishop c4. After knight e5 we have this check, and here's a very complex position. But what if black takes ed? Bishop c4, very unpleasant move. Chess moves, thank you for follow. You see that the bishop takes very important diagonal, also prepares castle. Bishop b4, for example, you open and play. c3 here, covering. d3, and now bishop f7 check. Look at this, guys. Have you been ever to Serbia? Yes, I was in Serbia. Bishop f7 check. Uh, Now king e7 we can even take and take on c3. or bishop g5 and taken, yeah, or take on bishop g5 knight c3. So if black principally takes on f7, what happens here? We take queen d8 and cb, and black thinks that they're okay, yeah. King attacked and he wants to promote with queen here, but king e2, ba queen can be happen in the game, right? In blitz game, knight g5 check, king g6, and queen e8 check. Or suddenly black is losing here because after king f6 there will be rook f1 check, bishop f5, rook f5 mate, and after king h6 there is knight e6 check, g5, and bishop g5 mate. This is how can you punish opponent here. Yeah, there is another trick, another trap. You can start actually e4, c6, play knight c3, d5, and knight f3 move. This was used by Bobby Fischer. We know his games. And me myself, I like to play bishop g4 here, h3, bishop f3, e6, and so on, like Botvinnik played or Petrosyan and these people. But imagine your opponent don't know it or forget, and he plays d, like in main line, for example, when you play d4, right? He plays d, knight e4, and the same ideas. It seems to be bishop f5, knight g3, bishop g3, and he thinks that after d6 he will transpose after e6. But here we play h4 instantly with either h5, and after h6 we don't play d4. We play knight e5 here, attacking this bishop. If we exchange, of course, we have big positional advantage. So bishop h7, we play bishop c. No, queen h5 here, attacking the pawn. Only move is g6 because queen d5 there is a bishop c4 and queen protects the knight, and we attack this square. So, and after g6, we don't go back here or here. We first attack with bishop this. He cannot take because of mate, right? So e6 on the move, and queen e2. Now probably queen e7 or something like that play has to play, and after d4 they have terrible position. This bishop will be closed, they're behind the development, white will develop like this, or bishop f4 and just crush in later game. But after knight f6 you can take on f7 and give this mate. Again, the same ideas. Came in on terrible PC. Maybe also queen h4, of course, yeah. Maybe queen h4 even stronger here. D is just bad move. I did not consider it a serious option, so I did not spend even seconds there. Here is also another funny variation. In this position, instead of bishop c4, there is something like queen f3 move, attacking this pawn. And after knight f6, queen b3 is an interesting move here. Attacking here and here. And um, after this, for example, black plays queen d5, covering this and attacking the knight. Then probably you can take here, queen e5 and play bishop e2. Now mate is a threat. So black now wants to sacrifice this rook and catch our queen. So after that, you can play queen d6, for example, yeah, covering this idea with it, queen a8, and play queen c7. And looks like this will be trapped after bishop g7, castle, and then knight d7. But a4, interesting move here, with either a5, a6, and queen b7. Bishop g7, and rook s3 even. This is a funny idea. And after castle, we play rook b3. Look at this line, and this queen goes from b7, and black's position is quite dubious here. CBCB 198, thank you for your donation. Appreciate, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is funny lines here. Let's see now Scandinavian defense. E4, D5, the funny variations here. Once again, people, I'm not challenging to good analysis, or refutations or something. I just show you general ideas for, especially for blitz and fast controls, general information, tricks and traps and this stuff. That's my idea. Uh, it's I created this for lower rated players, for to have who doesn't have time to prepare on openings, themselves because they're, for example, working or something, and these streams will help, I guess, in few hours to remember or know new ideas and maybe use it in tournaments. Oh, guys, we have very strong grandmaster in our chat, Alexander Rustemov, Belarusian grandmaster, which I know many years. Hello, Alexander, как вы? Alexander, for you it will be a little bit boring because I show in funny stuff here for lower rated players. How are you, by the way? How is situation in Belarus? I hope it's more quiet. Thank you, thank you. Unfortunately, not so much things to do, so at least we are doing streams and making fun with people. I hope this will help to improve the little bit opening knowledge on the very, uh, how to say, it's like iceberg of openings, right? Like theory. Yeah, yeah, I understand. By the way, tonight, if you cannot sleep, I'm not sure if it started, but there is a Chicago Open on ICC. I'm not sure if it's late for registration or not, but maybe you can try if you are interested. I'm not sure. Maybe it started, or maybe it will start in 1 or 2 hours. On ICC, there is a Chicago Open. I will skip it. Anon, thank you for donation. Appreciate. You are welcome. Gaming on the terrible PC. In 5 days will be Belarusian Championship. Wow, cool. It's cool that more and more OTV tournaments are running. So you gonna play it, right? As I understood, or your students will play. Probably you will play it. If you're gonna play it, we wish you good luck. It will be your students. Okay, I hope it will be live transmission. Yes, we can follow the games. I hope should be students. Okay, GM Gustavi. Hello, man. Yeah, right. Okay, because we know each other. I also joining other streamers. Naroditsky, for example, Daniel is very interesting to watch him. Miroshnichenko, almost everyone. Mhm. So we slowly move to Scandinavian now. I think it will be interesting. Some tricks here. So ED 25. If you want to decide to play it with black, I really recommend to analyze games of Sergei Tivyakov, a very strong grandmaster. with good understanding. He played it on a very high level with black, and nobody could refute it. I think in some year he played in Vekans's super tournament in Scandinavian defense against strong players, include Anand, and with good results. Alexander, thank you for compliment. Hope we will have opportunity to drink beer someday. You have nice account. Yes, this video I will upload to YouTube and on my channel. If you write Baadur Jobava, like my name, surname in Latin, you can find different videos I already uploaded there. So this is a short part of whole content about openings. Yes, it will be also recorded 2 weeks, I think, on my Twitch channel, but it will be for much longer days. Will be recorded on my YouTube channel. I especially do it because people doesn't have chance to follow it here, but you can do it there if you find time, of course, and you can refresh all the time your memory before some blitz games to watch it before the tournament, right? So knight c3 here, logical move, attacking the queen, and now queen has three main moves: queen a5, queen d6, or queen d8. All others are not so good, right? This is the worst move because bishop b5 loses the queen. So queen a5 in this position, for example, d4, logical move, knight f6, bishop c4, aiming this weakness, bishop a5, and for example, your opponent play bishop d2, or you are with white. You want to trap your opponent. And now, in bullet chess, for example, your opponent made terrible mistake and he played e6 here. Then what happens here? Knight d5. We're attacking the queen. And we cannot do anything, right? If queen d5, bishop d5, it's only two pieces. And after queen e4, we don't take on c7 because of king d8, knight e8. He takes care, and this knight can be trapped. But instead, we have tricky check on b5 here. Queen b5, knight c7, and we just take this queen. This is first idea here. Of course, it's not necessary to that your opponent will be trapped, but in bullet chess can be. Maybe he will pre-move move e6 and then you easily win the game. Another trap in blitz or bullet is you can play knight c3, queen f5, d4, knight f6, knight f3 here, bishop g4, all logical play, bishop e2, knight c6, bishop e3, and long castle. Yes, this is well-known position of Scandinavian. Quite common ideas when after castle, sometimes this queen can go to this side also. And now knight d2 is the point in bully chess, and the opponent can take, and happily grab this pawn, but you simply take, and make this fork. This is another little trap. Another play could be like this: e4, d5, you take, you play knight c3, and your opponent can play queen d8 here, right? But you play d4, and now he played knight c6 with attacking this pawn. But we don't protect it like that. We don't play like before, like this and this. The whole idea is that after knight f3, the black side whole idea to play bishop g4. Yeah, looks logical to attack this and play e6 and attack this pawn, but you play d5 when you're pleasant here. And now knight e5 can your opponent play and thinks that this is a pin. But instead he can punish here. You take knight e5, sacrifice this queen, give this check, take the pawn. This is the aim. c7 is the aim. Now, in case of queen c7, he can get beautiful mate here. cb, check, king d8, and knight f7. Did you see such a mate before? Bishop controls here, knight mates, and pawn controls c8 square here. And in case of a6, you simply play c7 check. You take here, and after rook d8, you simply take the bishop, and you are 3 pieces against 2. Another idea how you can punish opponent quickly. If he plays d4, knight f6, bishop c4 you play here, aiming this pawn. c6, this move known like a best in this position, controls important squares, and knight f3 to play. And all suddenly your opponent can make mistakes. The bishop e5 is more or less optimal here, but he can play here. And after bishop g4, bishop f7 is winning the pawn here, but much stronger is knight e5 here. Because what to do? Only move is bishop e6 here. And you take, and this is just terrible position. It's complete destroyed pawn construction after castle, rook e1, knight e2, knight e4, you will quickly kill. And if he takes here, you just take and mate. In case of bishop h5, you take queen h5 here. Knight h5 and mate. This is another, it's like ideas you have to know. Very useful in bully chess when your opponent or will make some pre-move or just forget these ideas or just don't know. You can very quickly punish even higher rated players. Okay, now we can move to the French defense ideas. e6. Let's say we play like that. Knight c3, bishop b4, and knight e2. I actually play myself recently these knight e2 moves. And knight e2 is very tricky move. And okay, good night someday. 1 second, I missed something in chat. Somebody. Good chess. Good night, good night. Good night, Euromarine, yeah. Yeah, knight e2, very tricky move here. Here is c5 is possible after h3, bishop c3, knight c3, cd or cd immediately. But also d is one of the main line. a3, and here is the various moves. Bishop a5, bishop e7, or bishop c3 also possible. Knight 3 and knight c6. Very tricky line. Maybe here, I don't know, maybe bishop b5, knight e7, castle, castle is more or less good optimal continuation, or bishop e3, I don't know, or something like that. But if you play queen g4 here, there will be knight d4 idea. This is a blunder. And queen g7 not possible because of knight c2, king d2, and mate here. With black, you can remember this knight c6, very tricky move against this line. Yeah, now how can you make trap in French defense with white? For example, you play the main line, knight 3, bishop b4, and play e5. This is the main line, c5. You remember we watched some bot-winning games in one of the streams. a3, and now cd open and play. Yes, bishop c3 we know by bot-winning games and knight e7 and very complex position. But the opponents play cd here. Here white could have white can sacrifice pawn like this and get very strong initiative for pawn, for example. But second, also you can also make trap here. You can after cd, you can take queen d4 this position. This is for blitz, of course. This is not objectively best, but your opponent played knight c6 here. You play queen g4, and now he thinks that he can win the pawn here. He takes here, pc, and now probably the correct is to play queen c7 here. And after queen g7, queen e5, queen e5, knight e5, and very complex endgame here. But he thinks that he can do the same with knight e5 here. You take queen g7, attack, and after queen f6, what happens here, guys? Bishop b5 is not convincing, right? He played bishop d7. Then what you want? Came in on table bc. What's the idea of bishop b5? He takes bishop d7. After bishop d, he takes knight d7. This is a move. Look at this beautiful move. Yeah, bishop h6. Protecting the queen. We cannot take knight h6 because of this. We cannot take this because of this. And black loses the exchange because king e7, they lose the queen after bishop g5. And also if you play something like king d7, then queen f6, knight f6, bishop g7 attacking post. I'm thinking now maybe actually knight d7 is the only move here. Also protecting, but I guess bishop b5. And black did not solve the problems because queen f8 mate is coming here, forcing to take, and queen h8. It's not enough compensation. Thank you for following. Here also one trap which you can easily catch your opponent in blitz. You play e4, e6, d4, d5, knight c3, bishop b4, e5, c5, e3. So he knows some theory, but he plays queen c7 here. Knight f3 you play, knight c6, and after bishop d3 he thinks that you blunder the pawn here. It seems like you blunder the pawn after cd, cd, and knight d4 here. How can you punish your opponent? What do you think, guys? Give me force variation, which thank you for following. So, Gustav, you say that knight d4, queen c3, queen d2 with queen d4, bishop b5. This is correct, but he can take the rook. Then what you do? This rook is hanging. When you see one line, you have to check another line, right? I don't believe you, Alexander, that you found it. No, bishop b5, rip, you, it simply take the bishop, the blunder. Yeah, knight d4 is a correct continuation here. Forcing queen c3, you play queen d2, he takes queen e1. Then what you do? Try to find from this position. Because during the practical play, when you see such a variations faster than your opponent, you have big advantage. Hello, Levan. Hello. Castle, it's possible, but it's slow move. Black can play bishop d7, for example, the rook c8, and okay, guys. So knight d4 we play. Yes, queen c3 is the only move, right? After you sacrifice, otherwise you play castle and just win the game with piece up. So queen c3, bishop d2 is a huge mistake because of queen d4, and we have some compensation here, but not winning. Queen d2, correct. Queen d4 is loses because of check, and we grab this queen. But after queen a1, it seems like knight b3 we catch the queen, but he has this move. Yes, and still maybe it's advantage for white, but it's not convincing. Knight b5, this is hangs. But all suddenly we have very slow move. Find it here. What we do here? Castle is not super convincing. It will be just a very good compensation, but nothing more. After castle, I play bishop d7. Knight b3, queen a2 we play here. No, knight b3, I mean, what is knight b3? We just grab this pawn with check, and you lost the game. f4, it's not, yeah, review, finally, yeah, c3. Look at this move. A very little move, and unfortunately for black, they cannot save this queen. This queenie will be, I don't want to use that word. F word will happen to this queen here after knight b3. Okay, thank you for follow. Let me see next. Now we can poor queenie, yeah. Now we can flip the board and try to catch the white now, who likes to play French defense. So opponent plays e4, e6, d5, d d5, knight c3, bishop b4, e5, c5, and we know that main move is a3, but he wants to immediately punish us, right? He wants to attack g7 and start the assault. On queen g4, we play knight e7 here. Here is knight f3 or dc is the main move, but if opponent very greedy person, he takes on g7 here, then we play rook g8, attacking the queen. And now, in this position, probably the good continuation, more or less, is queen h6 here, and after cd, h3 here. And now, bishop c3, bc, queen c7. It's probably a little bit favorable for black in this position because with very strong initiative attacking here, but it's playable. But what happens after queen h7? This is a bad move. Thank you for follow. I will show you the difference between queen h6 and queen h7 after this variation. So we take cd here, attacking the knight, and after h3. Yeah, now we don't take dc because he will take, or bishop c3 because he take, right? But queen f5, very strong move here. The point that if our Queen would be on h6. Imagine that variation, right? Pawn on h7, black pawn on h7, and white queen on h6. He could take a b here, and after queen a1, he has knight b5 with very good chances here. But in this position, this bishop will be hanged. So white cannot take a b. Unfortunately for them, they have rook b1. Looks like white is escaped, but dc, ab, and queen a2, and catch this rook here. Or suddenly white is loses the rook, whole rook, and the game. Very tricky idea. Now, very interesting trap here, which I play with black, by the way. Many games I played with black. So e4, e6, d4, d5, knight c3, de, knight e4, and bishop d7. This move doesn't have good reputation, but playable. I played it against any level, and not so bad results actually, before they adapted. We all know that one of the main moves is knight d7, the knight gf6, or directly, but bishop d7. So knight f3, bishop c6, attacking the knight, bishop d3, and now I played many times knight d7 here, and then castle, knight gf6, and so on. But what happens after knight f6 directly? This is suspicious move because you take the knight f6 here. Yes, yes, we played, Alexander, yeah. So knight f6 you play, and forcing to play gf here. And after gf, it's a really unpleasant position. Maybe you can even transfer this bishop here, actually. And then c3, b4, b5, when long castle will mate, you can start assault. But of course, knight f6 was countered to play queen f6, and black thinks that white doesn't have this move. Because bishop f3 is, I think, here. And now when we take queen f3, he takes, and queen b7, he can play queen d5, which is still actually not so good here after bishop e4. But we have even stronger here. We have stronger continuation after queen bishop f3. We have queen d2. This is a nice trap. You see the queen attacked, doesn't have squares, only queen d4, and then check. And he loses the queen. This you have to remember when you play with white. This line after knight f6 you take, and bishop g5, queen d2. That's why I played knight d7. And this is main line. So castle, knight g6, knight g3, and a lot of uh, games was played. 1 second to choose what to show you. Yeah, this can be possible. Yeah, bishop d7 is very tricky. So e4, e6, d4, d5, knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5. There is the option. Bishop e7. Imagine you play some 3+1 game. You take on f6, play knight f3, and logical move castle. Now we close this position in the center. Bishop e7, play bishop d3. Yeah, can be easily happens in any, I mean, in any format, even in classical, it can happen this position. Now c5 is necessary to start counter actions, but imagine that for some reason black plays bishop d7 move here, try to develop like c5, knight 6, and queen, rook maybe they want. Now you can play h4 here also, and now f5 is necessary. The idea is that after f6 here, you play knight g5. Look at this move, and you start actions on the king side first. In case of g6, try to close this diagonal. Not this one, this one. You take knight h7. H7, there is a check here, and then check and mate on h7. So after this, you can take fg, but bishop h7 check. This is what idea you have to have in mind. Now king f7, there is a mate in 2. So king h7 has to be taken, but check on hg, king g8, and beautiful rook h8 check. King f7 mate in 3. 1, 2, and 3. And there is not rook f7 because of pin. In case of king h8, you mate him like this. These ideas you have to have in mind all the time. And mate is, you cannot defend. Okay, we slowly can move to the Sicilian ideas. Something like e4, c5, knight f3, e6, the Polson system, knight d4, a6, g3. It's possible to play. And now d5 is a interesting option here. But your opponent can play queen c7, bishop g2, and knight c6. This setup often happens in Polsen. So you play castle, and now your opponent can be happy. Yes, he can take on d4 and take this pawn here. So greedily. But unfortunately for him, you can punish him very quickly here. Play knight c3, close the uh, exit for queen, and now the time of the idea knight e7. Unfortunately, too late because rook d1 you play, and after you want rook d2, and after knight c6, queen e3, knight e5, rook d2. You just win the piece here. This is just funny idea how you punish the greediness of your opponent. Thank you guys. Let me choose something interesting. Yeah, for example, you meet very active opponent. So e4, c5, and knight f3, e6, d4, cd, knight d4, knight f6, knight. Of course, e5 is a mistake here, right? We know that there is a check and we loses this pawn. So knight c3, and here is different options like knight c6, d6 to scamming game option. But bishop b4, me myself also played recently a lot of games online, not only in blitz but also in classical. If your opponent with white doesn't know how to read well, you can have good position. Nижний, you are funny. So bishop e4 and e5 is the main move here. After bishop d3, probably the safest way is to play d6 here. But e5 is the main move. Thank you guys. And now the main move is knight d5 here. But imagine that your opponent don't know theory and he uses his brain and he plays queen f5 here. This one. Yes, Russian a lot, but better to write in English if you know, because others also can read. So queen e5. What happens after this move? Of course, bishop d2, we just lost the pawn, right? But we go to ef and we trap the opponent. So he takes here, and after queen c3, he thinks that we will play bishop d2, and he play queen d4, then take on g7, and he's okay. But this position, queen d2 is very unpleasant move, cold shower. Of course, queen a1, so you have to take. But here we play c3 move. Now is a threat. For example, if you take the pawn, we play knight b3. It's similar to this French idea. After queen b1, bishop d3. And this queen is trapped here. So after c3, maybe queen b1 he has to play immediately. Try to escape here. And here bishop d3, we attack queen, forcing to go b6. Then we play fg, attacking rook, only move. And queen h6, very interesting line. Also was interesting here, maybe even to play bishop a3 with idea after gf, play knight b5 with very strong initiative. But okay, fg, rook g8, queen h6. And in case of f5, to cover this bishop from h7, take here, only move is king f7, and knight f5. Look at this idea. Knight h6 is a threat with winning the rook. He has to take ef, bishop c4 check. This was actually played in game. He played king e7, but after d5, probably bishop d5 check. In case of bishop e6, probably he wanted to take queen f5 here, as I understood. King e7. And what's going on here? Is it not clear for me? Maybe queen f8? Can we give this check, maybe? In case of rook f8, I want to give this bishop h3 as a take. But it's not convincing me at all, because king d7 here. So let's understand what was happening here. Why king d7? Why not d5? Logical move. Bishop d5 and bishop e6. What I'm missing here? Hmm, interesting. Very interesting, very interesting. Queen f5, king e7. And escapes to d7 here. Yeah, this is not convincing option. Of course, the line king e7 is a loses here because of queen g8. And after queen f6, we have this bishop g5 move, pin, and mate here. So probably in this position, knight f5 maybe is not the best continuation actually. Maybe something like queen h5 is the best. Because if he takes this is so strong attack here, bishop h6 coming, then even castle. Okay, this is just bad position for black, obviously. Queen a5 is bad move. But in the game they made mistake, of course. d5 missed. Here is a tons of variations. Instead of queen f5, the main move is knight d5. Yeah, I played this many times with black, but there is a really long variations and not so beautiful, I would say. I want to find something beautiful now. Like, yeah, this can be happens in the game. So something like this, you're white, and your opponent plays this kind of line: d4, cd knight d4, knight f6, knight c3, and d6. And this is Scheveningen variation, which was very popular when you remember in match between Karpov and Kasparov. Bishop e2, knight c6. So far logical play by black. Not king f1, of course. Castle a6, bishop e3. White plays very logical. So you develop and want to play f4. Queen c7 can be in the game, and you play f4 here. And for some reason, your opponent thinks that he needs to transfer this knight here and eliminate this bishop. How you punish him? For example, knight f5 he plays here. He wants to play b5 or knight c4 directly. In this position, you can play f5 and start action on the king side. These variations, what I will show is just to have ideas in your mind. Now, for example, bishop e7 was normal option to develop. e5 would lead to white's advantage after knight b3, forcing to play knight c4. Then white can take, and play bishop g5 here. No, not here. I mean, first protect, of course, the pawn. And next move, they want to play bishop g5, for example, like this, and exchange, and we have this square, and bishop is passive. Yeah, but in this position, opponents maybe decide to play knight c4 very active. So you just take, fe, opening a file, and after bishop e6 was giving more chances to defend this position, but after fe, here is beautiful blow, rook f6. You give exchange for very beautiful and huge attack here. After gf, we give this check, and king d8. In case of king e7, what happens, guys, here? Can you find? Yes. Checkmate. Thank you for following. Yeah, there is a knight f5 very unpleasant check. You have to accept it. And another knight is jump here. In case of king e6, there is a mate into queen e8 and queen e7. So king d7 is loses after fork. So king d8, there is bishop b6 check. King d7, queen f7 check. King 6, there is check on c7. King b5 and a4. You take and check and mate here. Such a journey. This, and made it on b4. Yeah, so after knight, after queen h5, king d8. Black has to play, but queen f7 penetrates too deeply in the camp of black's king. So queen f6 is a threat. Bishop e7 you have to play. What else? You have to play, and knight f5 here. ef is impossible because of pin. And what to do? Queen c7. If you play here, bishop b6 is a mistake, blunder, because queen b6 you cannot take because of check. But after that, you can prepare it with move knight f4 with devastating idea bishop b6, and black is in serious troubles here. But rook e8 looks logical, and here, what you do? No, it's already 2:20 a.m. I cannot beat any record, believe me. And Dr. Transylvanian Stein. So what happens here? How you win by force? Checkmate. Your idea is correct, but how you can do it in better reduction? How you start with knight d6 or bishop b6? Thank you for following this. Yeah, knight d6 is the option. Now queen c6 is loses because of knight e8, queen e8. He gives this check, give this check, and take this queen. But bishop d6 even worse. We give this check, give this check, and give mate on d7 here. This how can crush black's position. Yeah, now I can show you very funny variations. For example, your opponent play with black and you play this line, knight c3, e6, bishop e2, and bishop b4, and castle. You are in very aggressive mode, and black accepts this pawn sacrifice. What happens here? Bishop f3, and now the reasonable play is d5 here, and black is normal position. But if your opponent plays knight c3, grabs another pawn, then it starts very much action here. Queen d3. Now knight d4 is a bet because you take queen d4 and attacking there and here. Also, after knight d4 you play bishop e3, cut king from the uh, castle and have a huge attack. But in case of knight d5 here, you can take bishop d5, ed, rook e1 check. Knight d7 is not possible because of knight d5 and attacking here. And after king f8, you play knight f5 here. Look at these ideas. You want to play bishop h3, then queen g3, different ideas here with attacking. So after that, imagine that he plays d6 here. For example, g6 is loses after bishop h6 check, king g8 and queen c3, attacking with all forces here. d4 is knight d4, then we will take and give mate. So d6 looks logical to attack this knight and exchange it. But after that, what happens here? Can you calculate what you would play here? Knight d6, queen d6, bishop h3. Yeah, looks logical, but first of all, he has knight b4 move, and then a5. It's not so super clear. Yeah, but it's not convincing, that line, maybe. Here is much more pretty and more convincing. Yes, tiger top, right. Knight g7, this move. So the idea is to play bishop h6, yes? King g7 is a loses after queen g3. King f8 is mate in 1. King f6 mate in 1. But knight e5 can play. What you do? Thank you for following, guys. Bishop h6 is a good idea, but no wrong. You make it wrongly. After bishop h6, maybe I can play queen f6, maybe. Not sure, but so knight h5. Look at this move, guys. Double exclamation. In case of knight d3, you give mate in 3. Check here and check and this mate. Look at this mate, guys. So what to do here after knight h5? Bishop e6 he can maybe play, but all suddenly you're crashing with rook e5 here. D, and from this side now, king g8 loses after queen g3 and mating here. And after king e8, check from here. Bishop d7, it will be made in 1. And after queen d7, knight f6, black simply loses the queen here. Yeah, this was quite pretty variations. You're welcome. Yeah, when you know such a lot of ideas, different openings, then you have like different kind of traps where you can catch your opponent. Hmm. How does it feel? Yeah, I think everybody from us wants to not only to win but win in style, right? As stronger is opponent, as more is pleasure. So much variations. Very hard to choose million variations. Yeah, now I want to show you one very interesting trap against dragon variation. So like this, for blitz is definitely can be enough because opponent maybe don't remember. So we all know that bishop e3 is the main line here, right? Bishop e3, bishop g7, and f3, bishop c4, and so on. But f4, very tricky. Now bishop g7, for example. Knight c6 is also playable. For example, something like knight c, bc, e5, knight d7. There is a long variations, but maybe your opponent careless or he thinks that he remember variations. He played bishop c7. You play e5. Hello, the Whistler. I'm okay. Welcome. How are you? So, knight is attacked. And now it's necessary for black to play very careful here. So d, fe, and now knight d5 is already a mistake. Yes, twinkle toes. And how are you? You are playing or not? Is the tournament begin? Now knight f d7 here is the idea. And after e6, knight e5. Bishop b5, there is knight bc6. And after ef, king f8 with very, very complex position. Knight g4 is a mistake here because bishop b5 check. We see that now king f8 not possible because of check. We grab the queen. You cannot play like this or this because we take the knight, and after knight c6 we play knight c6, queen d1, knight d1. pc loses after bishop 6 and bishop a8. a6 is necessary, but after bishop a4 and bishop d7 we play h3 here, forcing knight to go here, and we can take knight e7 and stay with pawn up, because after bishop a4 we play knight d5. But what if opponent doesn't know this theory or don't remember and he play this? Oof, in 90 minutes, yeah, crazy. I will definitely not play because in 90 minutes for me it will be 4 o'clock a.m. 4 a.m. is too much to play first round. Yeah, so knight d5, and now bishop b5. That's how we punish him. After bishop d7, knight d7, he loses knight. After knight d5, bishop b5, there is knight b5, and queen protects the knight. So he's forced to play king f8 and castle. You can easily catch somebody in blitz in this line. Of course, knight c3 loses after knight e6 and queen d8 mate. But what if your opponent take here? Bishop b5. He thinks that he's okay. But you give check and king g8. Bishop g7 is a loses a piece. After bishop g7, king g7, you take knight d5, and after queen d5, you have knight e5 check, and he has to sacrifice the queen. And with this is not enough compensation because of initiative after check, rook e1, so on. So after bishop h6, king g8, he has to play, and now you take knight d5, queen d5, and again this move, attacking queen. He cannot take here because of mate. He has to give check on c5. Thank you for following. So queen c5 and bishop e3. Now two threats, bishop c5 or queen d8 mate, right? So he has only move queen c7, controlling this square and this square. But I will suddenly problems come from another side. This check, and whatever you play this or this, there is a mate in one after rook f7, because bishop controls this and bishop controls this. And this, how can you punish this line black if they don't remember? Thank you guys. Okay, now for very low level, for example, we go to the closed variations and we start with very simple tricks. With d4 you play d5 c4, and this is queen's gambit. e6, it's a classical queen's gambit. c6 is transposed to the Slav, but dc, this calls queen's gambit accepted. And here is a trick. Here's main moves are knight f3 or e4, but you can play e3 here in some bullet chess with low rated opponent, and he can be greedy, right? He don't want to give this pawn. Knight f6 is the main move, yes. After bishop c4 or knight f3, we transpose to the main line, but he can be greedy with b5 here. And now a4. This is the idea here. a6, we see this is a pin, and he can play c6, still be greedy, and he hopes that after a b7 he somehow managed to control these pawns. But all suddenly queen f3. Queen f3 is the idea, and rook is under. So we black simply cannot defend, because after queen b6, queen a8, or queen c7, let's say queen a8, bishop b7, we simply escape from this. And after queen f3, black loses the knight. They have to give this, and we see that we simply take the knight and go back and just win the game. Lot of ideas. Yeah, for example, you play with black, your opponent started with d4, d5, c4, e6. This calls declined queen's gambit, knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5, knight bd7 here. So cd, ed, and your opponent can think that you blunder the pawn, right? Because this is pin, he can take here. But after knight d5, you simply take knight d5 here. Target the bishop. And after bishop d8, this is the trick. This is a trap for beginners. You take, and take here, and stay with piece up here. This you have to know when you play with white and also with black. Okay, now I want to show you typical mistakes by black. What can be happen in many games. So 2, d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5, knight bd7, e3, bishop e7 can be easily the game, knight f3. And here's the main move like castle or then h6, c6 or b6 later, but b6 can be played instantly by opponents, then you punish it with cd here. And after ed, you play the bishop b5, very unpleasant move. Here's the pin, and same time we want to play bishop 6 and attack here and block his position on the queen side. And bishop e7 looks like it's okay. So we'll play a6 here. Next move c6. So they should play castle anyway. Allow bishop 6. Now knight e5, very imposing move. So white is threatening bishop f6, and take here, or like this. So castle looks like only move, and bishop 6, very imposing move. The point is that if black plays queen c8 here, they loses a piece after this, and bishop e7, and it's not anymore protected. Rook b8 also doesn't solve problems because bishop b7, rook b7, knight c6, and after queen e8 we can even take and take here, or at least even if we don't take, its positional big advantage. And after bishop 6 we take knight c6, and after queen e8 we can take queen e7, knight d5 here, and queen e4, only hope. Looks like black has some contraplay because attacking the knight and attacking the pawn here. But we take knight f6. In case of knight f6, we simply make castle and stay with pawn up. Gf looks like black has some counter chances because they attacking bishop and pawn. But how we punish here? What do you think, guys? Knight f4 is also possible, but this is much better continuation. How can you punish here? What do you think, guys? After bishop h6, he will take here. Then what do you do? f3 is not like punishment because he'll play queen g6 and then bishop goes queen g2. It not seems to be punishment. More aesthetical way. So bishop h6, queen g2, what you do? Of course, this is the direction. Bishop h6, if he just goes, we just castle and win the game. So queen g2 looks principal, otherwise we just admit that you lost. Once again, someday f3 is queen g6 and then queen g2. Queen g2, king e2 is one solution, but much more beautiful is bishop h6, queen g2, and queen f3. Look at this move, guys. Why not to make it in style? Why you don't see this? Queen f3. Look at this idea. Of course, if this goes, we just take here. So he has to take, and then we give this check. Indicate, gives check, we give check, and whatever it covers, we just mate on g4. Is not it more beautiful than king e2? Or you disagree, guys? Yeah, queen f3 was very cutie. Yeah, now how can you punish incorrect play in Tarrasch system? I want to show you. Man. So d4, for example, you played, opponent played d5, c4, e6, knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, c5. This is the Tarrasch system. CD. After ED, is a probably best line is G3, the Rubinstein, Akiba Rubinstein system. But knight d5 is also very popular. E4, also E3, what we played many times, also possible. But E4 is principal. And now the main line is to take city, and it played unlimited games, castle, and this is popular even nowadays. But what happens if black plays carefully here? Instead of play cd, they play knight c6 directly. How can you punish this position? Yes, I'm in Georgia, Nizhny. d5 here we play, attacking this. Now best continuation to take a knight e7, but still position is really suspicious. Yeah, we can play c4 and develop. Something went wrong for black. But if he plays knight e7 directly, even worse position now. Bishop b5 check, bishop d7, we take it, queen d7, and we play knight e5, very unpleasant move. You're welcome. And in case of queen c7, we give this unpleasant check here, and then we grab this pawn, right? So only move is queen b5. We take te. Of course, he has to take. With d8, it just leads to mate after this. So he has to take. And this position, we play rook b1. This is the whole idea. And unfortunately for black, they simply lose the rook because queen cannot go or here or here or here because it will be made in one. So only move with d8, and we simply can take on d8, take on b5, and game is over. Yeah, this was the idea. Rook b1. That's the idea behind of d. Now I will show you how strong Grandmaster Fine lost the game with white. It was played between Fine, very strong player, against very strong player Udovic in 1937. So Fine played d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, c5, and bishop g5 instead of cd main move. So game continued. cd. How I learned Serbian? I was in Serbia a few times. That's how. And now knight d4, and all of a sudden e5 black played here. Look at this active move. And now Fine played knight db5, and after a6 he made mistake here. should play. He should play or queen e4 or knight e3 here. But he played in this position knight d5. And after ab, he thought that after knight f6, the opponent has to take g8, then he would take here, then give this check and take here. But Yudovic just simply punished him. He took his queen all suddenly. And after bishop f6, check, we take here, and just have fine. Yes, we'll be fine, just without peace. You see how to even to strong players happens it. Okay, I will show you some last one more thing, and I will really go to rest now for today. Let me see 1 second. Let me choose something. Yeah, here is there is a trap in the Rubinstein system against Tarsh. For example, d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, c5. This is a clear system Tarsh. cd, ed, knight f3, knight c6, g3, knight f6, bishop g2. This is a main position. And bishop g4. Your opponent can play here. And they want to wait when white takes and develop with one tempo without losing tempo. But knight e5 very unpleasant move here. This is strong reaction. And now knight d4 is mistake in this position. How you can punish him? You will take knight g4 here, knight g4, and they play e3. And you see that both knights are under attack. And after queen f6, you not take ed because of mate, and you don't take this because of fork, but simply castle. And these knights, one of them will be lost here. Alright guys, enough for today. It's 3 a.m. for me, really tired. And we will continue these openings one of the next streams. Tomorrow I'm waiting you, me and my brother will stream and comment Norway chess tournament, and we can also make some fun. You can also we will choose some subscribers and they can play against my brother, and I will comment it. Thank you guys, and have a nice time, and just give me opportunity to raid somebody, right? We need to raid. This is tradition. Sometimes I forget it, but better I will not. Whom we can choose? Let me see. Okay, definitely not Hikaru, definitely not Levi Rosman today. They don't need it. Let me choose one. Let me choose one. Why I don't see anybody on live? Is it bug or what? Rodiski is not streaming. Otherwise, we would rate. Nobody is streaming. Yeah, only two. How is possible? Yeah, no chess streamers, I guess. I don't see. I don't see any streaming chess people. Okay, so probably I will not rate. Just, just. But I don't see where you see the people. Something wrong here. How to write John Bartolome? Okay, let's rate him. I search, but I don't see. I don't know. Something wrong with my Twitch. Okay, I rate. So tell me how to write it. John, how you said? What is his account name? John Bartholomew? Like you write? Okay, I will write. I will try. John Bartholomew. TH on you like this? What? Inward using something wrong. His account name. How will be, guys? John Bartholomew. So hard to write. John Bartholomew. Okay, I hope I did it. No, again not. Can I? Ah, maybe I can. 1 second. Maybe I can copy paste from chat. I'm not sure, but I will try. So, rate. Okay. Okay, I think I did it. For some reason, I did not see him. Okay, guys. Good night, everybody. See you next time. See you tomorrow, I hope. Bye bye.